Who are you is a misconception of ego. The pure understanding of ego is I am. Rest of it is a story created around that I am.
We learn about life through questions.
How do we shed our desires?
Should a leader try to change such people?
Insecurities start anytime, anywhere, any age.
Their conduct has to be as per their profession.
Does it mean that the family values are somewhere on the downfall?
To answer some of these, Mr. Praveen Mankar, founder of Pratibimb Charitable Trust, brings to you Face to Face. This week we are talking about ego.
We all have come across instances where we hear people say, "How dare he say that to me? Who is he to tell me that? He doesn't know who I am." All of this reflects ego. So, sir, my first question to you is, what according to you is ego?
Identity. Me, myself, mine. That's ego. We are all married to our identities. So, when you say I reflects your personality, and when you worship your personality, you project your ego.
We have created a self-identity for ourselves. We fear losing this identity. I don't want to lose myself. Why do we attach so much importance to this self-identity?
Loss is always scary. We don't like to lose anything. Remember, as a child, you had your toy, and if the toy was misplaced, you would be upset. Where is my favorite toy? I'm not finding it. I would cry. So, any loss is a scary proposition for any human being, be it a child, be it an adult. So, whenever I am afraid of a loss, I react.
But this is all we have, don't we?
Whatever you possess is because of the fact that you are alive. When I say I have a name, I have a profession, I have a certain number of years behind me which I call my experience, and that's me. But I am able to project me as long as there is this life force inside me. So, I may introduce myself with my name, I am so and so, is because the life force inside me enables me to speak and express. The day this life force goes away, as in common parlance we would say, the day I am dead, I cease to be me. You will address me by my name because I am alive and speaking to you. But if you see me lying horizontal on the floor, you will never address that horizontal substance as a person. You will say body. बॉडी को शिफ्ट करो, बॉडी को उठाओ, बॉडी को लेके जाओ, बॉडी को दफनाओ, बॉडी को जलाओ. I am never referred to by my name. The day that life force deserts me, I lose my identity. My identity is thanks to the life force inside me. Everybody has his or her identity because they are alive. They are alive because they have that life force inside them. And that life force is hidden, unseen, and therefore not given the due importance it deserves.
But that's because we identify ourselves with the image that we've created in our head. And we feel very insecure or vulnerable when someone hurts our ego. If you say anything against of the picture I've created in my head.
The problem is we don't understand the language we speak. Now, if you say identity, you talk about your name, your profession, your roots, your family and so on and so forth. But if you look at the word identity in isolation, it is made up of two words. It is id plus entity. If you look up the dictionary meaning of id is self, ego. Self is ego, not in the derogatory sense. In the literal sense, self is ego. ID is id, ego. Entity is energy. So, id plus entity is identity. When your ego gets attached to the life force prana shakti, you get an identity, and you believe identity to be the truth. Take the entity away, id collapses as nothing but dead material. But I glorify the id and I ignore the entity, whereas it is the entity that gives power to the id.
But isn't the need of wanting self-respect and self-esteem arising from ego?
Entity doesn't have any such need. The entity inside you and the entity inside me is the power. It doesn't have any color, it doesn't have any name, it doesn't have any shape, it doesn't have any texture. It is pure energy. It is like electricity in the bulb. The oven has a shape, the oven has a function, the refrigerator has a shape, the refrigerator has a function. The electricity in all these appliances is the same, 230 volts, 50 cycles. The oven will heat up subjects, the refrigerator will cool down subjects. Diametrically opposite functions, but it is the energy that enables the refrigerator and the oven to do their jobs. You don't have energy or electricity, both the pieces, the oven and the refrigerator, are pieces of junk, no use. The same with you as a human being and me as human being. Without the entity, you are a piece of dead material, I am a piece of dead material. If we are sent to a laboratory for chemical analysis, the laboratory will report carbon, sodium, potassium, chlorine, sulfate, same chemicals. My body will reveal the same report. What makes you different and me different is that energy. Then you are able to express yourself as who you are, and I am able to express myself as who I am.
Got it. But then, do you think some ego could be healthy? I've seen very egoistic people be very successful in life.
How do you define success? What do you measure success by? If you measure success by money, maybe, yes. If you measure success by relationships, that's a different parameter. If you measure success by serenity, peace, joy, that's another parameter. So, you define your idea of success.
But I'm talking about those people, we call them, you can't do this, you can't do anything. And those people take it very personally because of the egoistic nature, and they go on to prove the world wrong kind of
That is
ego.
because they glorify the form. When I glorify my form, let's say I am an Olympic medal winner. I am a gold medalist in, let's say, javelin throw or 100 meters. Tell me how many champions of Olympics do you remember? After 10 years, every name is replaced and forgotten. So, what are you glorifying yourself for? There is a famous Qawwali, Chadta Suraj dheere dheere dhalta hai dhal jayega. Even the sun has to set, even the rising sun has to set at some point of time. So, what are you glorifying your identity for? What is your achievement? Everything is to be left here and gone. Your only success is what you carry with yourself. Now, that brings to the question, who is the self? Your real self is that entity and not the id. The id will collapse. The id will be buried here. The id will be burned here. Everything remains here. Your properties remain here. Your fame remains here. Your name remains here. What transits is the energy. What you carry with that energy is your soul power, S-O-U-L. But nobody works for that power. Everybody works for the destructible. The id is false, the entity is real. Without that entity, a chartered accountant is dead material, an engineer is dead material, a doctor is dead material, a scientist is dead material, a cricketer is dead material, a world champion is dead material. What makes them what they are is this energy, this power, and everybody ignores this power, glorifying the material which is going to be dead tomorrow.
So, I want to talk more about this energy because I think not many people understand this. I mean, since my kindergarten also, the first essay I wrote is I am. Even right now, if you define who are you, okay, my name is Mithali, I'm into so and so field. This is what we normally. So, I want to talk about, can you talk more about this energy?
Great.
And how do we identify ourselves
Great.
with
So,
this
let's
energy?
talk what the world normally talks about, God. People from different societies, different religions, different beliefs feel that God is all supreme. Yeah, those who believe. I am not talking about the non-believers. So, if God is supreme and if God is everything according to various religions, If you were to meet God and ask him this question, who are you? What do you think God will answer?
Who are you? The creator?
That is ego. I am the creator.
I'm everywhere.
I am everywhere. I am glorifying myself. God simply has to say, I am. I am is a complete sentence in English. After the I am, whatever you put in front of I am, that is God. I am this vase, there is God in this. I am this cloth, there is God in this. I am this chair, there is God in this. You put anything after I am, God is there. I am everywhere, you said it. This entity I was talking of is that same power. And that is the real ego. I am. Who are you is a misconception of ego. So the pure understanding of ego is I am. Rest of it is a story created around that I am. I am Mithali. Okay, for how long? 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years? Mithali is over. What happened to I am Mithali? Mithali is over. What remained? I am remained. The entity remained.
So when I ask you, who are you? You just say, I am, and
I
that
am.
sentence is complete.
That sentence is complete. I am. Whatever you want to put across that I am that.
And that is how you get rid of that identity. Because
I drop my identity. It's a beautiful question asked to Gautam Buddha. I want peace. And Gautam Buddha simply said, drop I and drop want. I is your ego, want is your desire. What remains is peace. You drop your ego, you drop your desire, you have peace.
But so it's not easy for anyone
Nothing
to
is
drop
easy.
your ego.
You are today walking on your two legs. Was it easy for you as a child to stand up and walk? You must have fallen down hundreds of times.
So sir, if anybody wants to get rid of their self-identity and ego, what is the first basic steps that we should take to overcome this thing? I think, how do we
Surrender.
go about it?
Surrender. We don't like to surrender. इज्जत का फालूदा होता है, नाक कट जाती है. कौन सी नाक? नाक आज है कल नहीं है. कौन सी इज्जत? आज है कल नहीं है. कल तो कोई आपको पहचाने का भी नहीं, याद भी नहीं रखेगा. Your own family will not remember you. You will be a photograph hidden somewhere or dumped somewhere. What are you talking of? Surrender. When you surrender to the force of the universe, the force takes care of you. You were born without any wish. You grew up, you had sufficient food, you had sufficient clothes, you had sufficient education, you had a shelter over your head. How did all this happen? Did you manage that? You were just a helpless child. So who provided? The universe provided through your parents, through your society. So why do you think that you are able to manipulate life? Life takes care of you. Trust life, surrender to life. Because human beings refuse to surrender, there are clashes. This is mine. How dare you touch this? And what happens after 100 years? Somebody else will touch it and you won't even have the energy to say this is mine. So what are you boasting about?
So all we have to do is surrender.
Sure.
A very simple learning. Surrender your identity. Drop your ego. It serves no purpose. And I hope you find your peace of mind by shedding your ego. Thank you.
If you have some questions about life, please connect with us. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and press the bell icon for weekly updates.